Evening all. How are we doing? Sunday. Motion, how are you? Pete on YouTube. Hello mate, how's things? Good weekend? Motion, good to hear it. Good to hear it. Done much this weekend? Hello Hassan. Carl, I'm on TikTok. I'm sure didn't you ask this in the last stream? I've got TikTok and YouTube going on at the same time, buddy. If I had a way to embed the questions or the comments from both on each stream, that would be amazing. But obviously I'm a bit limited for space on TikTok. Trying to set your server up, bought the wrong cable for video input. After a little while, Peter, you will end up with a bag of cables that you think you're never going to use again, and you probably won't, but at least you'll have them just in case. Right, anyone who's in already, let me know what questions you might have. Just Sunday night stream, finding out what you guys are working on. If you've got work tomorrow, are you dreading it? If you are, what are you doing about it? I think it's a DVI cable you need. Yeah, they're the ones you never have, right? You've got VGAs, which are basically redundant these days. HDMIs you can usually pull from something else. The DVI cable is the unsung hero. I've got loads of them now because GPUs these days come like 3 or 4 connections, and it seems to be better for 4K as well. You don't need special, like DVI is pretty good up to like 8K or something stupid like that. I don't know why it's not. There's just no. I just don't think they put sound through it or something. I can't remember. But yeah, I've got a bunch of those. Unlimited cables kept for just in case. This is the way. That's it. Honestly, I've got a container like a couple of meters. Well, not a couple of meters. At least 1.5 meters long by 0.5 meter. Fairly deep as well. Just full of cables, like kettle leads, like anything you might need for like a computer that I've just kept over the years. And yeah, you just end up with loads of them. Connor B, welcome in. Nightmare. Bought a VGA cable because that's the screen output, so I need a VGA to DVI adapter. Rocking an old monitor. Connor B, how's your weekend been? Chat is still not showing up on my live stream, is it? Why is that? Why is that? It's free from Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. It's perfect for a server monitor as well, because you're not going to need it plugged in all the time. Roger that. You seem like a decent human being, Mark, and good person to come across. I appreciate that, Roger. I'm trying to help, buddy. I am trying to help. We've actually got someone in my group in the Discord applied for a junior role in DevOps and has an interview on Thursday, which is amazing. It'll be his first tech role, I believe. I'll fight for being a tight ass, Peter. That's it. How's the how is the work-life balance in DevOps? Do you know what? It can be bad, and I've worked at companies where it's been bad, but my work-life balance has always been good, like since I hit my early 30s. So work-life balance a lot of the time comes down to what you're willing to allow the company to do to you, or what you're willing to put up with, right? So I've done a video on this on TikTok, but I'll cover it anyway. I'm very strict on my working hours. So in my calendar, I start at 7:30, and I've got time, like a little half an hour before, that says working hours start 7:30. I've got another calendar that runs from 4, calendar invite that run every day, that runs from 4 until 5, that says working hours 4 p.m. I've then got 12 till 1, my lunch hour, in every single day, and unless an important meeting goes in and someone's spoken to me beforehand, anything that falls over those slots just gets rejected. So my work-life balance is amazing. As a result, I've got to do on-call as part of my role, and most DevOps roles encourage that or require that, but we don't get many call-outs, to be honest, and so we essentially get paid for being on call, and we get woken up for calls every, a few weeks, but they're never calls where we've got to log on and stuff. They just tend to acknowledge them, check them for 5-10 minutes, and they go away. So a lot of it is just like oversensitive alerting. Great, building a booking system and hooked into Twilio for SMS. Nice. Using the APIs is what it's all about. If you can consume and work with APIs, you're halfway there, Connor. The box. Is AI going to affect on DevOps or any IT careers? It is going to affect it, but I don't think in a meaningful way. Pretty sure I covered this last time as well, but how did I answer last time? Essentially, you can use, so ChatGPT is the most popular one, right? You can use that, but somebody needs to A, write the prompts, and B, understand the output, because if you don't understand the output, then there's not much you can do with it, right? Because I've tested it before, and whilst it can write very, very basic Terraform, for instance, which is a large part of the role, if you make it too complex, it will just spit out a single file, for instance, or apart from a variables file. If you ask it to build a bunch of resources, it will just spit it all out into one file. It won't properly set up the variables, and it won't properly reference the variables. It's quite messy, and from what I'm hearing elsewhere is it's not necessarily that secure. Outside of work, I've built a couple of apps in PHP and stuff, and it really helped me refactor. So I was just really learning PHP from scratch, and it really helped me refactor a bunch of stuff. So I gave it perfectly working code, and I said something along the lines of, can you refactor this or make it into like a reusable module? And after a couple of attempts it did that, and it cut down my code base from about, one particular file was about 900 lines, and that cut it down to like 300 or 400. So it's good at that, but I mean it just helps speed a few things up, but it's not going to take over the jobs. If you were as a junior, would you recommend working at a smaller startup or pushing to work at a big corp? So there are two trains of thought. So my first job was at a tiny company. It was like 20 staff, very local to me, and they didn't really know what they wanted in a DevOps engineer, so they afforded me the time to learn on the job, because I'd never really used Azure or Jenkins properly. So they allowed me to learn on the job. They allowed me to do my Azure cert, because I thought they were important at the time, and they were really good to me. However, I think So sorry, I've lost my train of thought. My first role was at a small company. My recommendation is to go to a small company because the demands are going to be less because they're a small development team and stuff like that, and but their requirements will be they'll be very streamlined. You'd assume, because it's a very small team. You're not having to support. If it's a small company, you're not having to support loads and loads of services. If you go into a big company, it does have its benefits, right? Because there might be seniors that can guide you or mentor you really well. But also, you're going to inherit so much code that you need to get your head around. And believe me, part of the hardest part of going into a new company is really reading the code and fully understanding it. It takes quite. That's a difficult bit. So both have their benefits, but I would recommend, and smaller companies seem to be more willing to take a chance on juniors. Kind of be other lines blurred between DevOps engineer and software developer. They are, because the dev part of DevOps is developer, and the ops part is system operations. So when it first came about, DevOps was about culture and stuff like that, and the role really was kind of half software development, half operations, so like pipelines, like infrastructure and stuff. The lines are blurred now. We tend to be like infrastructure as code engineers a lot of the time, and you're just. I've worked at companies where I've been embedded within a development squad, and all I've been allowed to do is write the Terraform and stuff. Whereas in my current role, we act more as consultants. So there's 3 of us, and we just work as a single team. We're not embedded or anything, and people come to us with what they want to achieve and how they want to approach it, and we tell them if we believe that to be best practice, how that would fit into our current architecture and stuff, and they're in charge of writing their own Terraform. So the lines are blurred in that it was born out of 2 different roles, one of those being software developer. Yes, I got you live. Glad you could join, buddy. What do you advise someone builds to test all their skills? So my roadmap, I'll bring up my roadmap because I forget what's on it. Roadmap. So for Linux server management or anything Linux based, you can really just use kind of bash scripting and stuff to test your skills. So spin up a new Linux server. So I tested mine using someone sent a rose. Thank you, buddy. I still haven't figured out what that means, but thank you anyway. So for Linux, I tested mine by running a web server, so that's a fairly good thing to do. So spin up an Apache web server by installing all of the dependencies. You could, if you use WordPress like I did, then you need to include PHP, the LAMP stack basically, so Linux, and then using Apache, MySQL or MariaDB and PHP, and then all of the commands that you're writing to do that, put into a bash script. Okay, so then get it fully configured, put every single command into there, and then save that script in GitHub, create a brand new server, now run that script, and then if that builds the exact same thing, like that proves that you know some of that stuff. Everything else around Linux is just like troubleshooting and stuff, which is really difficult to display in GitHub, but some bash scripts will show that you understand the commands. What else have we got? We've got Python, so any Python program, you could just create a note-taking app, command line note-taking app if you wanted to. I did a Twitter bot which was consuming live scores, and it was posting tweets, but I understand Twitter have now added some restrictions on that, and you might have to pay, or you can't tweet for free or something stupid now. So you could try Threads, which is the Facebook's clone of Twitter essentially. So in Python though, there's so many different things you could do. You could write, when you get into the cloud side of it, you can write lambdas in Python, so you could use those examples on your GitHub. Source control, you'll obviously be proving, but whilst while you're in the while you're using GitHub. Networking is a bit more difficult to demonstrate, but you'll be able to talk about how DNS works and IPs and what subnets are and stuff like that, internet gateways, things like that. So that will kind of be covered off with your cloud stuff. Cloud computing is fairly self-explanatory. So if you do, and infrastructure as code on the pipe is on the roadmap. If you do Terraform to spin up a bunch of resources in AWS, that proves that you know the cloud stuff, and it also proves you know the infrastructure as code, so Terraform. If you then deploy that via Jenkins, that also covers that off. If you store that in GitHub, it covers off the source control. If you run a script once all of your servers running, if you deploy a bash script or a Python script, that also shows you know scripting, so you can very quickly get that into a big project that clears everything off. And then containerization, you could just deploy an app. Then using all of that stuff, you could then deploy an app into a Docker container using something like ECS or EKS if you want to go down the Kubernetes route. So yeah, hopefully that helps, buddy. What we got? Sorry, I'm just going to hop over to YouTube quickly. Moshin, did I just see you on TikTok? Thanks for jumping across. How long do you think someone should stay at their first role, and do you think it's a good idea to switch to gain more experience? Yes, so try and stay in each role for a year at least, right? I did my first one only for 6 months, and that was because I took a huge salary drop and I wanted to get back up very quickly. But I would advise at least a year in each role as a minimum. So if you do a junior for a year, I would then be pushing for mid-level roles after a year, to be honest. If you're still learning a bunch, then stick around, because it's a very short period where you're a junior and you're earning less money. So once you've got all those skills and you're able to move on, the salary goes up very, very quickly. So at least a year, and then like try and go progressively longer. So I did 6 months, then I did a year, then I did 18 months, and I've been in my current role for getting on for a year with no plans to move. I'll probably do at least 3 years here, and then I've got 5 or 6 years in total, but really enjoying what I'm doing now. We've got loads of stuff still to achieve, so yeah, that was my recommendation. Lecce, good evening Mark, going to be signing up to the group. Appreciate that, buddy. We've still got 6 seats left, I believe. I haven't checked this evening. For anyone else listening, I'm offering 2 things at the moment. I've got an accountability group. So if you are learning at the moment, or you want to start learning, but you know that you're going to struggle to dedicate the time to it because you'll choose Netflix or going out or whatever over that, then we've got an accountability group. Okay, so if you visit my link tree, which is in my bio and TikTok, or go to the devopsacademy.com, or my link tree is linktree/Mark in the Cloud, then there is a link to that accountability group, right? It's £66, and it is a 12-week course, and there's only going to be 12 people in it, so it is really hands-on. Small group. There's going to be a Telegram group, or there is a Telegram group. There's a private Discord, and we're going to be discussing, just available to chat all the time. And every Wednesday, so it starts on 2nd of August, Wednesday 2nd of August, 6 seats left, and every Wednesday 8 p.m. we're going to have a video call, and I'm going to ask for updates from everyone, right? What have you done in the past week? And our first call will be setting objectives. What do you want to achieve over this 12 weeks, right? And I'll document all those, and I'll remind you of those every single week to make sure that you're making progress towards them. There's no courses or training involved, so you need to go away and do that, but I can give you an outline, so which moves me on to my next bit. I've got a course/ebook I'm going to write. Okay, so it's pre-orders only at the moment, because all I've got at the moment is the outline, but that outline is going to be 12 sections. Currently 11, but a 12th is coming in soon. So that it can span a 12-week period, and it will cover everything in my roadmap. Okay, so that course, it will be an ebook, and then I will also be recording a video course for that as well. The ebook is currently just £9 for a pre-order, and there's 100 copies available at that, or there was when I started. It's around 80 now. So you can buy that also from The link's in my bio. And that 12-week or the course outline can inform your learning in the accountability group if you want. If you want an all-in-one where we walk you through week by week that stuff, that course doesn't exist yet, and it will come, but I need to get the course sorted first. Hopefully that helps, Lechi. In fact, you didn't even ask a question. You just told me about that, which prompted me. So thank you. Right, I've got to catch up on TikTok. What would you advise? No, I've done that. I'm so far finished second year uni doing computer science. How can I get into DevOps after graduating? MBM, if you're still around, get your degree and get any role in tech. If you can go down the software engineer route, that makes sense. But just get your foot in the door. Once you're working in a tech company, or a company that has a tech department, being able to move between teams should be fairly straightforward. A software engineer role or a system operations, system administrator role will be able to merge into DevOps quite quickly. You may be able to get on like a grad scheme. There's apprenticeships as well, where you can learn on the job and get paid. So it should be fairly straightforward straight out of uni. Get your foot in the door. Bilal, I'm QA. What's the difference between DevOps and site reliability engineer? Not a lot, to be honest. I see them used interchangeably. Site reliability does focus a bit more on the reliability side of it. So we're talking about like scalability and like monitoring and logging. So we do that in DevOps as well, which is why they say the lines are blurred. But the site reliability engineers I've worked with before have been like looking at things like literally monitoring things like uptime and reporting on it, and looking at if the particular application or web application can scale up to a certain amount and stuff like that. So there's not a huge difference, and there's a blurred line in some of it, but with a site reliability engineer, at least the ones I've worked with, and I've only worked with them in one company, you won't need stuff like Terraform and that. It's a bit more bigger picture stuff. If there are any SREs in the chat that disagree with that, please pop in. Terraform is in Python, right? Or is it its own scripting language? No, Terraform is it's its own language. It's called HCL, HashiCorp Configuration Language. However, Roger, there are SDKs. So if you want, and I haven't seen anyone do this yet, if you want, you can use the Python SDK for Terraform to just write your Terraform essentially in Python, which if you're a Python developer or very strong on Python, makes loads of sense. But if you go into a company, they're going to have Terraform for the most part. So it's a bit if you went into a brand new company and used it, and there are other ones, I think Pulumi, Pulumi, I might have just made that up, is a similar thing where you can just write in the language of your choice to bring up the environment, which is, I'd be all over, to be honest. Someone's already answered that for me. Connor B, what languages would you say learn at any basic level or in some depth? Connor, you need to be able to write scripts in the language, right? So Bash will come by default if you're on the Linux command line, and but you need a scripting language. So Python and Go are probably the most common for DevOps. If you wanted to throw some Node.js in there, you could, because you can write lambdas in Node.js. However, I only mention that because someone pulled me up on this in a comment on a video. The only reason I mention that is I've worked in, like, Node.js is super popular for like application or web applications. So if you work for a company that needs you to actually contribute to code, so if you're an embedded DevOps engineer and there's no infrastructure stuff to do or Terraform stuff, then you might be required to actually pick up tickets, whether it's front end, back end, whatever. So Node.js is good at that, and then you could also contribute to Node.js lambdas in Node.js. But Python, number one I've seen as a DevOps engineer. I've just signed up to try Hack Me. You want to be a pen tester? Do you know what? I did something similar, Pop One, recently, a couple of weeks ago. Hack the Box, I think it's called. was brilliant, but I took it as far as I could without having to pay, I think. Or I don't know if I hit a time limit on the day or what, but I was thoroughly enjoying it. It was brilliant. Just hacking into stuff. It's really good. I'm starting a degree apprenticeship with Amazon in data analytics for 3 years. Any tips when I'm done? If you're with Amazon, they'll look after you. I went through an interview process, went through an application process with Amazon, and their interview process was so long, I ended up pulling out because I had offers on the table elsewhere. But the conversations I had with the recruiter were just like, yeah, you can just tell your manager at any time that I want to move from one job to the other, and they'll find you a pathway to do it. Like, if you can get in there, well, it sounds like you already are. Once you're in there, you're absolutely laughing. So there's no tips. Like, if you get into data analytics with Amazon, who are a huge data company, get your feet well and truly under the table, buddy. Peanut Pillager, do you think you'll always do DevOps? Ever want to do front end? So I've got a web design business on the side. It's very small. I basically build between 5 and 10 websites a year for that. So I do a bit of front end, but I use WordPress. But I've never seen a front end engineer get paid the sort of money DevOps engineers get paid, unfortunately. So the money would be a barrier. And the more I progress now, the bigger the barrier in terms of me changing career, because when I changed before, I dropped from like 47.5. I couldn't drop from the sort of money I'm on now without having an awful lot of money in the bank, unfortunately. So no, what I think I'll do is like solution architect potentially is an option, and contracting. So contracting can pay silly amounts as well. So that's probably where I'll go. I would like maybe 6, 7, even 8, maybe even 10 years experience before I did contracting, because I'd want a huge savings pot just in case anything went wrong. Also, I'm a DevOps team lead now, and I've got senior management experience, so moving to head of DevOps is not beyond the realm of possibilities for my next role. I don't know what they pay, I haven't looked, but I'd imagine it's pretty good. Tayfoyo, starting a new job as cloud engineer. I want to be a DevSecOps engineer. How long before I change jobs? If it's a brand new job, first time in the industry, get your feet under the table, learn the cloud engineer stuff, get a year under your belt. But in the meantime, there's nothing to stop you. Like, focus on the role for a good 6 months. Like, learn the stuff that you need to do, because learning by tutorials versus learning actually being in the job, they are quite different. And that's how my course is going to be different from others, is that I'm going to actually relate the stuff that I learned at the time, and also the stuff I'm teaching, into how it actually translates into jobs, because the basic Terraform stuff you get taught versus the Terraform you end up walking into in companies can be very, very different. So take your time, learn the skills, and then if you're in the tech companies anyway, it's usually easier to move internally, so you can have a word with your manager. In a sense, you're a DevOps consultant. Yeah, roger that. That's essentially an internal consultant is what I am doing. Question, is DevOps a part of full stack? I see on the roadmap site it's added in the full stack curriculum. I'm not sure what website you mean. It's not really full stack because there's no front end required. It's more back end really. Back end and cloud. So no, I wouldn't say it's full stack. But I don't know what curriculum you're talking about, buddy. Do you think having a portfolio site to show your projects is worth it? Not necessarily your projects, because a portfolio site is going to be front end, but having a GitHub with things you've built, 100%. Right, so YouTube, I've been neglecting you. What's the difference between platform, DevOps, site reliability engineers? A lot of them are the same. I don't know the difference between platform engineers and DevOps engineers, but the site reliability thing I just covered off, actually. I don't think there's a great deal of difference. I read somewhere, actually, a platform engineer is actually focused on building tools more. So as DevOps engineers are not really building tools as such, but I think a platform engineer does. That's the only difference I know about. Ashley, similar question, DevOps and site reliability engineer. I literally just covered that off. Site reliability, focusing on the reliability, the scalability of an application, whereas DevOps is looking after the whole shebang, all of the underlying infrastructure, the culture, that sort of stuff. Do you think 14 is too young to start learning from your roadmap to be hopefully ready in 2 to 3 years? No, absolutely not. Some of the best self-taught people picked up when they were teenagers and just hit the ground running. So you could get the 2 to 3 years under your belt, do a course or something, or even just go to uni and absolutely smash it, or get an apprenticeship at 16 instead of doing your A levels. I think that's allowed in the UK still, and you'll know most of it, and that will put you miles ahead. If you did 2 to 3 years of self-learning, think how far ahead of the other apprentices that you'd be up against when going for those roles. You'd be laughing. What skills needed to become DevSecOps engineer? Do you think is a good role? Yes, DevSecOps is a consideration of mine in the future as well, getting the security aspect, which is why I joined Hack the Box, if you were around when I just said that. There's some security stuff. Like my current company is relatively small, it's a couple of hundred staff, and we don't have a security expert, so we use third parties to do like our pen testing and stuff like that. That is worth. So we are trying to focus our learning on security and stuff, some of us. So yeah, I think it's I don't know the skills exactly because I haven't really dug into it too much, but it's a good role and high in demand. Ashley, can you explain? Wait, what? Have I just missed that? Oh, you've put it in a few times, Ashley. I've touched on that now. Ever thought of starting your own company? T-Dog, yes, I've got my own company. So not for DevOps though, if that was a question. I just put my web design stuff through for a limited company. But yeah, would I do outsource? I mean, with the amount of people I've now got in my Discord that could eventually become DevOps engineers, I could start an agency. But that feels like it could be a lot of work. What do you think of GitHub Actions, Joe? I actually love GitHub Actions, and I haven't done much with them, but we've started to use them at my current place, and we also use Jenkins, and I would like to get rid of Jenkins completely to use GitHub Actions. So yeah, I guess that answers your question. I really actually quite like them. I've used the GitLab stuff before as well, which is similar. Hey mate, thanks for uploads. You've been popping up on my FYP. Love to see more tech people in the industry. Yeah, Rush, I appreciate that, buddy. Join the group, man. Join the group. I don't think we've made any sales today, so there's still 6 seats. So yeah, go for it. If you are interested, then the DevOpsAcademy.com is where you will find that. Links are all in my bio. If you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, head to Mark in the Cloud and you'll find your way there as well. But yeah, 2 years, man. Think where you could be now without trying to depress you on a Sunday night. At what point can you go for mid-level roles? What skills are required? It's really a lot of it is down to soft skills, the progression through low, medium, or low, mid, high. So my previous career, if you didn't know, was in the charity sector. So I progressed up to senior management. So with senior management comes a lot of stuff that is really useful that I found in the tech world. So being able to communicate at various levels, all the way up to kind of CTO, director level. I had that. I had the ability to manage a team. I had a team of like 50 or 60 people at its peak. I've managed managers. I've managed projects. I've been able to like get buy-in on projects and stuff like that. So all of those things allows me to communicate fairly well and get my point across without being offensive, or I'm very constructive in it and stuff like that. So it's more about skills, which is why I had no right to go from junior to mid-level in 6 months. I only did that because of my soft skills. So once you've got the foundation tech skills, you need to build on your soft skills more. Confused. We have to pay to get into a group. Rush. There's a free Discord if that's what you're talking about, buddy. The people that want a bit more accountability wise is that's paid for £66 for 12 weeks. So you get 12 hourly sessions plus 3 live streams, and like just a private chat for 12 people plus me. But there is a free Discord. If you go to my link tree, which is just above there, you can join that, and there's like close to 450 people in there now, and they will G you up if you need it. Whereas DevOps engineer, new to DevOps, been at it for 5 months, but still don't understand it. That's totally normal. My first 5 or 6 months, even though I changed roles, I was still just learning as I went. What's the word? Imposter syndrome is real, and I had that for a long time. Mustang, can I newbie enroll in your course? The course isn't ready yet, but you're welcome to pre-order it if you want. It's at a reduced price. Full price will be like £49, I expect, but it's currently £9. But it won't be available. I'm going to release it to people that have purchased the pre-order when it's about 50% ready, which I'm thinking is going to be October. But there's no course at the moment. If you want to start learning, head to my website, markinthecloud.com. You can get there via the link tree above, and my roadmap is on there, and also if you click on courses is a list of all the courses I've taken, and you can do that. DevOps, no idea what I'm doing. What do you think of GitHub Actions? Covered that already. Do you work with both AWS and Azure? How do you find working between the two? I've used Azure for just 5 months in my first role, and ever since then, so for over 3 years now, I've used only AWS. I don't think I knew enough about cloud to really criticize Azure the way I do, but I didn't like the UI at all, and so it wasn't a particularly enjoyable time using it. Lots of people think I'm a bit silly for that, but I really love AWS, and they're the market leaders, and I wouldn't recommend learning anything else, to be honest. Waka, is it necessary to learn Java? Or will Python be enough? No, Java is absolutely unnecessary for a DevOps engineer. You only need Java if you're going to be a software engineer. Python is absolutely enough. Herminator, what prerequisite I needed to get into this? What's that in relation to? DevOps. If it's DevOps, then all of the skills in my roadmap are the prereqs. If it's for the accountability course, there are no prereqs. You just need to come willing to work. Thanks. Getting this role at Amazon wasn't easy. Or trying to get AWS certified while at Amazon. Yeah, you could do. I think internally they'll probably want you certified, but externally I wouldn't worry about the certs. P. Clark. Hey Pete. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, all good, man. I've had a good weekend. How about you? Are the HashiCorp certs worth anything in advance in DevOps? Johanna, I don't know. So I don't believe in certs, though I have done 2. Okay, full disclosure. I didn't pay for them myself, which is what I massively disagree with. I don't think people should pay for them themselves. I did the AZ900, which is the Azure Fundamentals, which is like really, really base level, and I did the HashiCorp Certified Terraform Associate like 2.5 years ago now, so it actually expired, I think, in January this year. It was useful learning, and I only did it because I'd never used it before at the time, really. I don't think the certifications are not going to be the reason you don't get a job. What's your opinion on IT consultant firms for first-time tech juniors? I refuse to work at an IT consulting firm because I've had one interview with them, and the guy that interviewed me told me that it was required that I would like upsell things and stuff like that, and I didn't feel comfortable doing it, to be honest. I also wanted to like get into a team and feel part of a team, and as a consultant, I think you're just farmed out. You can be at any company at any time and not necessarily like build a team. Like you could be on your own if it's a small project, and whilst you'll have people back at base that you can talk to, I don't think I certainly wouldn't want to do it, but it's a very lucrative path. They pay pretty well. it's just not for me at all. Not a lot of love for Jenkins out there. Primoz, there's not, but every company bloody uses it. It's everywhere. We had Jenkins running in Kubernetes clusters in my second role. My last place didn't use Jenkins at all, but we used all the code pipeline, code build stuff, so it was all AWS. We were all in. And my current place has 2 Jenkins servers, but I want to move us off because it's mostly used because it's free, but it's not free to maintain, and it's a bit of a pig at times. Can a person with minimum programming knowledge enroll for your course? So to be clear, Mustan, the accountability group is for people learning in their own time. We're just going to hold you to account. We're going to get weekly updates. The course that I'm writing is not ready yet, but it is for the course is called Zero to DevOps, and it's absolutely for beginners. I will teach you everything you need to know, and I will also contextualize it in the working environment. So I will go through the commands that you need to use in Linux. I will go through, what else is it? Python basics, like literally get down to the nitty-gritty of the basics, and then how I use it and the stuff that you're going to need to use. And then I'll show you how to store your code in GitHub. And then we'll talk about some networking. I'll take you through AWS. We'll go through the UI. I'll tell you what each of the services do and how I've used them. And then we'll pull all that together in Terraform. And then we'll build some pipelines, and I'll show you how to deploy a Jenkins server. And we'll put some Terraform into a pipeline. And then we'll use Terraform, and then we'll create something like a Slack bot in Python, and we'll stick that in a Docker container. But it won't just be project based, right? I'll give you all of the background, the foundation level knowledge, but then we'll actually build some stuff during the course, and then every single section will have an exercise as well. So yeah, it's absolutely for beginners, but the first part of it will not be ready until October, although pre-orders are open. I'm a career changer with management experience too, so I know where you're coming from. Thanks. Okay, yeah, there you go, mate. This is great advice, mate. We need more people getting into DevOps. 100%. I think the demand is still outweighing the supply at the moment, so it's a great time to get in, even still. Loads of people can get in. And like the minimum salary is 30 to 40k, which is like it's pretty much above the national average salary, and it's the only way is up from there. Is it possible moving from data analytics to solutions architect? You can move from any role to any role, but you're going to need to put in the time, in your own time, to make that happen and get those skills. And then I don't know much about the solutions architect stuff yet. I just know that that's like the general thoughts, the general idea of architecting solutions and stuff is definitely for me. But the skills required you'll need to figure out. How I did it was just going through job descriptions. I went through like 10, maybe 12, and then picked off all of the common ones, and then found courses that would teach me those particular skills. So create your own roadmap and learn the skills. You'll have to do it in your own time, and then because you've got the comfort of a job already, then you can start to apply when you're ready. From myself, using HashiCorp a lot since being in my role, perhaps experience is enough. Yeah, absolutely. I've got family in the data field, seems more like jobs contracts are going hybrid. Would you agree? Hybrid working, as in office home. If so, I'm starting to see more of it, but my role is fully remote, and any time I work with a recruiter, I tell them I only want fully remote. I have to go into the head office once every 3 months. I'm actually there on Tuesday. But yeah, I won't commit to anything more than that really, because the ball still seems to be in our court for now. Right, YouTube, sorry, I've neglected your chat. What have we got? Just the one. Peter, what's the most used software day to day? I can't imagine we won't use everything we learn all the time. No, so you won't use everything all the time at all. You're right. I use Terraform every day. I use the AWS console every day. I use Jenkins UI every day. I use GitHub every day, and then spend a lot of time in the Atlassian suite, so Jira, Confluence, Opsgenie. I use the PagerDuty UI every day, which is login and monitoring type stuff. And then on my Mac, so my work machine is a Mac, I'm using the terminal all the time, so that's, I can't remember what the default shell is called, but it's very similar to Bash. So I'm doing stuff there all the time. So yeah, you won't use all of it all the time. And obviously VS Code is open all day, every day, to write Terraform and stuff. So you're using Terraform every day. I don't get to write enough Python, but I do. I absolutely love it. So it's a shame. But that's mainly because I'm a line manager now, to be honest. My guys are writing stuff all the time. Michael, hi Mark, I'm starting a new role as a DevOps engineer soon. Got any advice for me before I start the role to do well and make a good impression? Michael, yes. So a few points. Make an impact early on if you can. Don't be the guy that just sits in a meeting with nothing to say. Like, you will be in meetings, you'll be in stand-ups all the time, no doubt. If they work agile, then question everything, right? Don't be afraid to question the stuff that you're being told, or question the stuff that you're looking at, and make use of the first few weeks, right? Like, you are able to make mistakes, and you're able to ask the silly questions that nobody wants to ask. Like, play dumb if you have to, and ask the questions that to get the information you need, and then try and make an impact, right? So find something, a quick win. A junior DevOps engineer, I should say. I have no prior experience. Okay, in that case, don't worry about that as much. In terms of making an impact, but you just come across as keen. Ask loads of questions, right? You can, as a brand new guy with no experience, you can literally have. You are the new guy and you're expected to not know everything, so ask the questions. Please don't be shocked. People won't give you the information unless you ask the question. So ask the question, right? You hopefully will get assigned a senior to mentor you and take you through stuff, but just ask questions, buddy. There's no stupid questions when you're starting out, and if you're asking the questions, make sure you're making a note of them, right? Don't try not to repeat the questions, because easy way to annoy a senior is to just keep asking the same questions, right? So ask a question in a way that you can get an answer and make a note of it, right? So that you can refer back to your notes first, because that will go a long way to making sure you're not disturbing them like too much. Right, let's head back over to TikTok. I'm live on TikTok and on YouTube, guys, if you are wondering where the questions are coming from. When are you starting the course, Emmanuel? So the course is going to be an ebook to begin with. It started, I've got the outline, so I've written a little bit, but it's going to be like a couple of months, maybe even 3 months, until I'm about 50% of the way there, I think. I'm going to try and spend a couple of weeks, a fortnight on each section, starting this coming week. But I have got a holiday somewhere in between, so that's the plan. Maybe 2 to 3 weeks on each section. The absolute latest it will be is the end of the year, but the first, I'm planning to deliver 50% of the course on early October. So that's what your pre-orders are getting you, and the reason the pre-orders are so cheap at the moment, so it's £9 instead of £49 essentially. T-Dog, not sure if you answered previously. Have you thought about starting your own business? I did answer that, buddy. I assume you dropped out. I was saying I have my own business, but just for the web design stuff I do. And I was saying also that the size of the Discord community these days, I could probably start like an agency and stuff as people will start to come through the ranks and learn all their skills. Jaywalk. Apply for my first DevOps role thanks to your guidance. I appreciate. That's amazing. Please keep me posted. If you're in my Discord, let me know. If you're not, DM me on TikTok by all means. Yeah, keep me posted on that. I'm glad I could help, man. Ethereal, where's your office? Yeah, it's basically a shed of insulated and not fully boarded, as you can see on the roof. It's just in my garden. J-Rock, might be a silly question, but could you be a self-employed DevOps engineer? Well, yeah, you could be a self-employed engineer, DevOps engineer. So if you go down the contractor route, you would likely want to set up a limited company and put all your income through that, because you will potentially work for several companies during a year. And if it's outside of IR35, well, even if it's not, you could just invoice them, because then you can control your tax, because you just take out what you need and leave the rest in the business. So yes, you could. Could you be like a DevOps for hire type thing? Yeah, I guess. Like in a couple of years' time, if I'm still doing all of this stuff and I'm starting to be seen as not an industry leader, that seems ridiculous, but like an expert in my DevOps field, and I've got 100k followers or whatever, I would seriously consider being DevOps for hire, like £100 an hour or £1,000 a day or something. Yeah, no problem. And maybe that's the way that I go from contracting, or from full-time employment into contracting. Did you ever consider taking your career abroad? Absolutely not. I've got family and stuff, and kids and that, so no, I would never go abroad. I got asked that loads on the salary thing that I did recently, like how I did a video on how I spend my DevOps salary, and loads of the questions were like, if you were in Asia, you'd have loads more left. I'm like, yes, but then I'd be in Asia. Like, it's not for everyone, is it? Like, I'll go to the States because the salaries are so much better. Yes, but then I wouldn't have free healthcare, and I have to have insurance, and a trip to the hospital cost me $10,000. Like, it's like it's not as easy as I'll just go to the States, or I'll go to Australia, or go to Asia. Like, it's just not that easy. T-Dog, can't we come and work for you? If I had an agency or something, buddy, and I would never say never, right? Like, if people started reaching out to me and randomly were like, Mark, could you come and work on a DevOps project for me? I would start to seriously consider how I might also outsource that stuff and just stay employed at the same time. But that's not happening, I'll be honest. And so, yeah, there are lots of agencies out there as well. I'm pretty sure I could set up an agency and have a much better reputation than most of them, because most of the ones I work for tend to be overseas, and the support is not very good. But yeah, never say never. Ethereal, pack your bags and go to Asia. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm off to Thailand. I'm sure it was great. Like, everything's so cheap, but I could probably retire today if I was living in Thailand. Joe, we don't have free healthcare in the UK. Okay, but we do pay your national insurance, but that doesn't just national insurance covers my pension as well. Like, it's not just that, is it? So if you take that into account versus someone in my position paying for bloody insurance in the States, then yeah. And J-Rock makes a great thing. If I don't have a job, I can still get all my healthcare. I can still get my free dental. I can still get all of the other stuff. So yeah, it's not free. Obviously, I'm paying for it, and the amount of tax I pay, I'm very much paying for it. But yeah, I don't have to have insurances for it, do I? YouTube, what we got? How much work do you usually get per day? And is there time periods when you have no work? It's like that for me, and sometimes I just spend my time watching Udemy courses. I don't have much downtime these days, just because a lot of my time is filled with kind of line management stuff, and like, I'm obviously the go-to person now for my two people that work for me. So there's not much downtime, but in terms of work, I have a lot of meetings, maybe a couple of hours a day worth of meetings, and then I get like maybe 2 to 3 hours of actual focus time, and then other things is like alerts going off in the DevOps channel that I need to look at, or people asking for bits of work around kind of like user management and stuff. But yeah, on Friday afternoon we kind of have a company-wide, well, it's not company-wide on a Friday afternoon, but they are keen on us doing L&D time, so we have a subscription to Pluralsight, which I don't like as much as Udemy, but it's pretty good. So yeah, we do a lot of a good 3 hours of my Friday afternoon is spent doing that, which is pretty cool. Does the constant meetings grind on you? Yeah, it does. So look, I start at 7:30, and my first meetings are at 9:30. So I have a stand up every day, but that's with my team. So that 7:30 until basically 9, when the first. In fact, one of my guys starts at 8:30, but he's fairly quiet until 9, and then the conversations happen because all three of us are online. So I get that 90 minutes at the beginning of the day where I can have some breathing space. I can get on top of anything that I've missed because I finish at 4. So people are still sending messages until 6 p.m. sometimes. So I get a good 90 minutes to catch up on that, and then have a stand up, and then I've usually got either from 10 till 12 is free, or from 1 till 3, or sometimes 1 till 4 can be free. Like, it varies by day, but there's usually, my meetings are fairly well chunked together. There's one day every 2 weeks at the end of the sprint, or like a Thursday, where I finish early to do the school run, and apart from my 2 hours from 7:30 to 9:30, it's just all meetings basically. It's like a sprint review, it's a retro, there's like demos, and then there's like a drop-in session on a Thursday afternoon, and then I finish to do the school run. Like, it's crazy. I wish there were less meetings for sure. Right, if you just joined, I'm Mark. I'm a DevOps engineer, and trying to help people get into the tech industry. If you're interested in that, drop a follow, drop a like on the live, and pop any questions in the chat. I'm live on both TikTok and YouTube, in case you're confused about where the questions are coming from. Jay, what's your YouTube channel called? It's just Mark in the Cloud, mate. So I'm pretty sure you can go to youtube.com/@MarkInTheCloud, and or can you? I don't know if you can even see it, but above my head should be a link tree. Or if you go into my profile and click on the link in my bio, at the bottom after my links, there's 2 social icons. I think one is Twitter. I think one is YouTube, and one is TikTok. So you can get there that way, mate. So yeah, if you're on TikTok and you use YouTube, appreciate the a subscription on YouTube if you can. T-Dog, I was looking at jobs today. Some said you have projects, send them over. What do you think? What do you mean, mate? They send you projects and you have to do it and send it back? Or they asking you for projects you've already done to send over to them? If I have a portfolio, for example. Okay, so as a DevOps engineer, you're unlikely to have an actual portfolio, but for some people, a portfolio could just mean well, it just means examples of your work, right? So you won't have a portfolio website, but on your GitHub, as you're learning, you should be recording anything and everything, right? You can just create a repo for DevOps, and then for each of the things on the, like my roadmap, for instance, you could, well, lighting is bright. You could have just a folder in your GitHub repo for each of those, and then within there you could have projects, and so you just need to call them by name your project and then store all the code inside of it, and just make it, and then have a readme right at the very top level. Have a readme at the very top level that explains how each of your projects work and stuff like that, or have a contents page almost, and then links from the main readme into a readme within each project. So yeah, that's where you can store your Terraform, your Python, your Bash scripts, any Jenkins files that you've done. If you've got any GitHub action workflows, all of those should be in the right place as well. So you could very quickly get all of your stuff up to speed, and then you can just put your GitHub on your CV. Is it okay to use Medium instead of GitHub to document projects? You could do the write up of a project on Medium, but you wouldn't store the code there though. Like, you're going to use GitHub in your job, right? Or GitHub or GitLab, or what else would I use? Code Commit, or Bitbucket. They're the main ones. They want to see the code. They don't want to read the write up. They want to actually see the code, how you structure your code, how you structure functions, and are your functions doing multiple things, or are they nice clean functions that do one thing? Are they named well so that they can easily see what each function does? There's a lot that goes to it, which, shameless plug, I will cover in my course. Right, YouTube, what we got? I can't even see numbers for YouTube. How do I get that? That's annoying. Wow, this website needs a dark mode. My goodness. Ooh, it has. Nice. Letchi 8 watching. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. J-Watt, I just got your email notification on my phone to say you subscribed, but I didn't get it on. I didn't get the alert. I know you're not on YouTube, so or maybe you are now. But that wasn't working for me the other day either. Maybe the Stream Elements bot is on a go slow. But I appreciate the subscription. Guys, if you are interested in joining the Discord, it's completely free, and I will drop an invite. If you want to join the Discord, there is, like, I don't even know now, 435 as of just now actually. 435 people in exactly the same boat as you if you are looking to get into tech. It's for anyone looking to get into tech really. I obviously specialise in DevOps, but we've just started moving into other roles. So we've got channels for cybersecurity, general IT, QA tester, software engineer, and we can have anything you want really. So you want to come in, chat, share your story, share your knowledge, then the link has just been dropped into the TikTok chat. Can I drop it into the YouTube chat? Apparently I'm not signed in. How can that possibly be? Connor B, haven't used Sennheiser in years. What's the model would you recommend? Just a second, mate. The model I've got Connor B, haven't used Sennheiser. Why is that doing that? The model I've got, I'll have to have a look at my Amazon orders to be honest. I can't remember, if I'm honest. Let's have a look. These are the first ones I've had, but they're incredible. Sennheiser, they are Sennheiser HD 599s, and they are special edition ones, open back. I did not pay that much money for them. What the hell? Did I? They're 180 quid at the moment. I can assure you I did not pay 180 quid. Let's have a look. Order details. No, I must have got them in the sale, so absolutely do not buy them at this price. I've got the Sennheiser HD 599s. I bought them for £70. They're £180 at the moment, so on Amazon. So do not pay that price, obviously. Maybe I got them in Black Friday. Or what did we get? That is slow. That is really slow. Jaywalk, I've just got your notification on YouTube that you've subscribed. That is quite the delay. Yeah, so £70 I paid. Sennheiser HD 599s. They're currently £180. So maybe wait to Black Friday. Ghost, I want to come into the DevOps channel. I've just posted a link. Have you missed that? Can I do it again? Let's have a look. Paste. Yeah, there we go. Ghost, that's for you. There is a link there to the Discord. There's DevOps stuff there. Cybersecurity. Oh, nice. Jobs. Also, in my Discord, I post jobs when I get them or when I come across them. So I work with a recruiter who sends me junior jobs sometimes. We put one in the other day, which one of our guys has now got an interview for this week. And I popped one in the other day. So associate DevOps engineer for the civil service. And there are 3 roles available for that. And someone's just put in there's a 27% pension contribution, which is incredible. So yeah, it's useful just for junior jobs if you're interested in that. I'm not seeing the link. Okay, can you not do that? Ghost, head to the link in my bio, and the bottom link on my links in my link tree is the Discord, mate. Not seeing the link. Oh no, that's the same comment. Right, YouTube. There's a single DevOps engineer at my current company. I don't see him much, but he has offered to help me out if I'm really interested. Lecce, I would be all over that, mate, if I were you. I'm hoping there's potential there for me to work as his junior if I get enough knowledge, some projects under my belt, etc. 100%. And just think, right, if he takes you under his wing and he disappears, then you've got the option to be the only DevOps engineer in the company, right? So I would 100% ramp up my learning, and I'd be all over that. I would get to spend some time with him as much as you can, like obviously whilst trying to juggle your current role. 100%, mate. That sounds like a great opportunity. Ghost, if you're back in my TikTok, let me know if you got in to the Discord, buddy. Let's have a look, community. Channel. How do I add new channels? Wait, what? Oh, default channels. Why are they not all on by default? That's all annoying. Save. Okay. YouTube a Discord bot just letting everyone know that I'm now live on YouTube. Just the 1 hour 13 minutes late. Thanks for that. For those interested, I am going to be just watching reviews on bloody best cameras or webcams for this, because in the dark on my TikTok I look awful. So I'll get like a key light in here, I will get a better webcam, and I'll probably get a green screen as well, and do a bit more video on demand stuff for YouTube, some high level like tutorials and stuff, and that would be good practice for my course. Daniel Turner, thanks for joining TikTok, mate. Rad42, thank you for joining. Connor B is back, just hopping in and out like a madman. Travelling in a car, shady signal. That makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Sam Pollard, I subscribed. Thanks, Sam. Whoever you are, wherever you are. T-Dog, how long was it from starting to learn to get in a full-time position? So I had a full-time job already, but it took me a year in total of like learning. Like I didn't track it, but when I've looked back, it felt like it was roughly a year from when I started like looking into front-end web dev WordPress and all of that stuff. I spent a lot of time learning all of that, how to build websites. I was just building them from scratch and they were ropey looking, and then found WordPress, which made things a bit easier. So I did that probably for maybe 2 or 3 months, potentially even longer, and then stumbled across one of the courses that I've got listed on my website, which is self-hosting WordPress. So all I wanted to know was how to host my own WordPress without using like a normal hosting site, because I was hearing awful things about like Bluehost and all of those. So I just wanted to have my own server. And once I got into that, the whole server stuff I just found absolutely fascinating. Like writing in a black terminal, like it felt very like a hacker from the 90s films and stuff, and I still love it today. Like I use the terminal as much as I can. So it took me a year, but I think if you're only doing evenings and weekends, you can do it. If you really knuckle down, you could probably do it. And the point of my course, when it's ready, is you could do it in 12 weeks, right? And that is just, you can have a baseline knowledge in 12 weeks, right? If you just went through step by step and then did a small exercise at the end, you could potentially do it in 12 weeks. Realistically, a prospective employer's going to want to see a bit more than that. So you could do 12 weeks of the course and then 12 weeks building stuff, right? There could be, and at the end of the course, maybe I'll set a big project, right, where you build a whole new Python app and you set up a whole new Jenkins server in AWS or some other cloud provider, and you use Terraform to do all of that stuff, and then you bring GitHub Actions into it. If you can do all of that, you could start applying. So realistically, 3 to 6 months, you could start applying for roles. Like I wasn't hyper focused on this. It's only with hindsight now that I'm able to like really streamline it. So I spent 2 or 3 months, like I said, on WordPress, and then how to host it again probably took me even longer still. And it was only when I really finished that course I was like, this server stuff is amazing, and then started tinkering around with server stuff. So yeah, I don't know exactly, but I think within 6 months you could realistically learn the skills, build the projects, and apply for roles. Is there any sector which seems to pay more for DevOps? I mean, fin services and the pay is crazy. I haven't had a job in fin or fintech, but I'm hearing the money is crazy there as well. I work for a SaaS at the moment and get paid the most I've ever been paid. And we're not quite a startup, we're more of a scale up, small company, 200 staff-ish. So that's good. The things vary wildly, right? I got sent a DevOps manager role the other day. Well, I say the other day, it's probably like 2 weeks ago now, and it was at Williams F1, which I don't live a million miles away from. And the pay was like 65k. So like a LinkedIn recruiter reached out to me, like a cold message, said, "Oh, I've got a job within your area," sort of thing. And I said, "Well, how much is it?" And he ignored me for days, and so I unconnected from him, and he must have realised. And so then connected again. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's this much," and I was like, "No." And he was like, "Okay, what would you need to leave?" And I was like, "Well, here's my base salary, here's how much I get for on-call, and here are my pension contributions from my company. Let me know if you can match that." Sam, thanks for subscribing. And yeah, I didn't really hear back from him, to be honest. So it was like, that's a big company with a lot of money, right? You'd assume they've just been bought by an American company, and so there is clearly the F1 industry is not a good place to be. But I would say SaaS, anything SaaS related, like my previous company was SaaS as well, and they brought me in on 70k, and then I got like a cost of living increase, or like a market realignment increase of like 16.5 grand after, I don't know, 10 months I think. So that was pretty crazy. So I was on like 88 grand there because I'd had a tiny pay rise in between. So I think anywhere where there's like software is good because the margins are so high. You got to think, if you're in like a sales/service business, margins are quite tight. Another few companies that pay well: ITV, Santander, Experian, These are very specific, of course. Virgin Media and AWS, they all pay incredibly well. I was in the running for jobs for all of those, and the salaries varied from 100 to 130k. Santander in particular was crazy money, like 30 days annual leave. I think it was them anyway. 120 base, 10% bonus, but related to the company performance, and another 12% bonus based on your personal performance. So like a $5,000 car allowance. It was just, even though I'd be remote, it was some stupid money, but they were too slow. Lurking Nando, what's the best sector to join for the highest salary? Lurking Nando, are you also... Who just asked me that question? Connor B. Because I asked the same question. So yeah, hopefully you heard that. I know you used Udemy to learn, but do you still think it's the best platform for newcomers? I just can't think of another place. Like Pluralsight's also good. But you are limited to the Pluralsight trainers, so as long as you like them. A Cloud Guru is supposed to be amazing as well. I think any of them are fine. It just so happens that I got a couple of Udemy courses, and then the second role I had, where I was there for a year, they had Udemy Business, and I did a lot of the courses on my thing were Udemy courses I did at that company. I had to go and fish them out because they weren't on my personal profile, but yeah, incredible. I think it's really good. You just need to be careful about the courses you choose. Make sure they're ones that have got like tens of thousands of reviews. Ghost, please can I get a one-on-one tutorial with you to help me build my DevOps skills? Unless you're a very rich man, Ghost, no. My time is not cheap, and I wouldn't offer one-to-one mentoring because it would cost you too much. I'll be honest. Like, just wait for the course, wait for the video course, and once I've done the video course, there'll be like a not an accountability group, but there'll be a new, we call it like a mastermind or a mastery course, and that'll be 12 weeks, and we will run through the course. I won't obviously talk you through it, but each week you'll do a section, and everyone will do a section. You all start from zero, and then you can all ping me messages, and I know you're all going to ping me messages around the same sort of subject, and so I could be like hyper focused on giving you the experience you need. That will be way more expensive than the accountability group, but you will get my course in ebook and my course video for free once it's ready, and that will be the closest you'll get to one-on-one tutorials from me. Jay, what's good, bro? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Tons of stuff to build with DevOps. It's sort of like pipelines. Do a lot of lambdas for like automating things. We do a bunch of stuff with alerting. So we have like monitors on all of our services and our servers, which then report into Datadog, and we set alarms on monitors and metrics in there. And then if things hit a certain metric, then that will then create an alert, and that will go off to OpsGenie, used to be PagerDuty, and then create alerts, and that will call people out. So that's a fairly big part of what we do. But now at my level, I'm looking at costs as well, and making sure we are using our costs and we're not wasting money. We're buying like reserved instances, all of that stuff. What do the projects entail? So I work for a SaaS, right? So the projects really tend to be things like, we're just maintaining stuff at this point. We're helping people build Jenkins pipelines. We're trying to improve things around monitoring and getting best practices throughout the business. We're trying to do some stuff on ChatOps, which is basically users able to talk to a bot in Microsoft Teams, to be able to do some user management and automatically and stuff like that. There's so many things. It feels like infrastructure engineers now are required to get into DevOps by most companies. Infrastructure engineers, it just feels like I've never actually seen an infrastructure engineer, but it sounds like exactly the same job, to be honest. How much coding is involved in your position in DevOps? Not enough, unfortunately. So writing Terraform fairly regularly. I do a little bit of Python for scripts and stuff, or for lambdas, but no, it's not a lot. But I'm a line manager now. So my guys are writing quite a bit more. T-Dog. Joseph Fritz, what is your problem? I cannot delete that. That's annoying. Can I block you? Block. There was a lady on TikTok that says she's on 400k at Google coding. Crazy money. If you're in Silicon Valley, Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of those over there, they're paying ridiculous amounts of money. It also costs ridiculous amounts to live where they live. Would you recommend Azure DevOps, Bicep, or Terraform? I've never used Bicep. Terraform all day long. Why? My question is, like, if Bicep does the same as Terraform, then maybe. But the industry standard is Terraform. Everybody uses Terraform, and if you know Terraform, you can just apply what you know to all of the other cloud platforms. Like it makes the most sense. I've just started learning your roadmap and changing my career from charity to tech. Any advice? Said yes, I did exactly that. Followed my roadmap, put in the time. If you're struggling with motivation, get in the Discord. That's it. Like you just need to put in the time. It takes time. Connor B, cheers. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by. A question over on YouTube. How's the retail sector for DevOps? Do you know what? I've never worked there, but when I was in a couple of positions, or when I was applying for a couple of positions, one of them was ASOS, and another one was like Bloom in Wild, which is like a flower thing, and they both paid over 100k, and that was for a senior, not even line management, so that was for a senior DevOps engineer. So apparently it pays well, which is surprising. Say thank you for all your amazing videos. No worries, reach out if I can help anymore. Right guys, I am very close to 90 minutes live. I am going to call it there. Final reminder, if you haven't already, you can pre-order my course ebook. It's just £9 at the moment. It will go up in £10 increments as I lead up to the release. You can also, if you're struggling with learning or just having a group that you can chat to, there's a free Discord, link in my bio. If you want a little bit more accountability and you're willing to part cash for that, then you can, link in my bio will also take you to the accountability group. It starts on the 2nd of August. It's £66. It will last 12 weeks. And it will be the kick up the arse that you need to actually start learning properly and regularly. But yeah, appreciate you all stopping by. I'm going to call it there. If you haven't already, follow me on TikTok. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Cheers, everyone.